Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, going to take a look at the Soulforge, tell you what's good and bad in there. Going to show you a cool Journey event team and a Underspire team too. But first of all, let's take a look at this Glory Shop troop, the Steam Troll. And our Giants gain 2 life, recover 3 life at the start of each turn, and reduce damage from skulls by 50%. It's okay, standard kind of thing for that. My goodness. Look at the state of that. Anyway, creates a mix of blue and yellow gems equal to the current blue and yellow gems on the board. These kind of mana generators, if you need blue and yellow for other troops because it doesn't use those colours, are actually really good. Particularly if you can have a storm going of one or both of those colours. So the kind of troop that would be pretty much useless in any team that doesn't use blue or yellow. But if you're in a team where you've got a couple of troops that blue and yellow is one of their main colours, then it can be actually really strong. And in that regard, it's a pretty solid 7 out of 10. So really good for that, but kind of useless for everything else. But all around, you obviously pick troops to work with your team. And in that regard, for blue and yellow, it is a pretty solid troop. So yes, 7 out of 10 for you, matey boy. Should get on the treadmill and have a look at yourself a bit, maybe. But anyway, we're not going into that. We'll just get this up to Mythic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tar. Right, now let's jump into the Soulforge, see what's going on in there. But anyway, a man knocked at my door today asking for donations for the local swimming pool. So I gave him a glass of water. Do you see? Oh goodness. Let me have a little sip of my tea after that. Oh, magnifico. Mwah. Anyway, the Titanic Cleaver. It's not. It's Titanic Cleaver. It's really big. Anyway, but don't buy it from here. Get it from the Journey shop. It's available from there. Same weapon. So basically save your diamonds because you can buy it with gems from the Journey shop, and gems are easier to come by in this game than diamonds. So yeah. But what does it do? It does damage to an enemy boosted by brown allies and giant allies. So basic damage with a boost. Nothing too fantastic about that. But we'll get it. We'll upgrade it. See what the upgrades are. Sometimes the upgrades can transform a weapon from okay to good to like really good. So we'll take a look at that later. I'm not going to go over all these ones that are here all the time. Like this little lot here, for example. They're in my Soulforge extra video. So if you don't know what these ones do, then go check that out because no point going over these literally every single week. First weapon on rotation is a Flammifer. This is a good one. If you don't have this, this is one of the ones to get hold of if you can get it. Oh, excuse me. It creates 10 red gems. That's a good amount already. Particularly in a red storm. Then deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by red gems. So the boost is going to be higher than normal because you're going to create those red gems. In the first instance, in a red storm, that can actually loop, get a 4-match and do it again and create lots of mana for red using troops like Zul'Goth, for example, and things like that. But yeah, really good. Doesn't get any mana itself unless you get lucky with a future cascade. But yeah, still really good for getting lots of red for your red troops in your team. Doomed Club does magic-based damage to all enemies. That's pretty good already. With a +1 per tempering level boost, and transform green gems to doom skulls is kind of the icing on the cake. If the enemy has a doom, create 5 more, but then gain 3 mana for each brown enemy. It's kind of like a cherry on top. It's kind of, it was started off good, and it got even better, then got obscene. If you're against an all brown team, you're going to get like 12 mana back straight away out of the 18 it needs. And if you cast it in a way that those transform green gems to doom skulls gets a 4-match, you do a load more, you do normal damage because of the damage to all, you do a load of that skull damage, doom skulls explode, and that's going to get you even more mana on top of the 12 you already got in the first place from it, if this is like getting first dibs on brown. It's a fantastic weapon, really good. And it even has dust as one of its upgrades, which is a dust storm, which means it's going to create a brown storm, making it even easier to get brown. This is one of the ones to get of the doomed weapons, one of the essential ones. Absolutely fantastic. Really good. Shegra's Spine does damage to an enemy boosted by giant allies, then create a mix of 6 blue and brown gems for each giant ally. Uses green and red, creates a blue and brown. So make sure at least one or two of those giant allies use blue and or brown to make the most of all the lovely mana. Doomed Gavel does magic-based heavy splash damage to an enemy, so you have to cast that on the second or third troops down to get the most out of that, otherwise you're going to miss out on damage. Stun all yellow enemies, cleanse all yellow allies, explode 4 gems. If the enemy has a doom, explode 3 more. So the stun can be useful, as can be the cleanse. Is more of a specialist weapon when you need it, because you're restricted by a kingdom restriction or a colour, and you're against a team that you may need a cleanse on or something like that, or particularly you want to stun an enemy. So it is okay, but it is kind of specialist depending upon the situation in most situations. Whomp. That's noise it makes when you get bashed around the head with it. Magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Broken Spire allies. Then create a mix of 6 red and brown gems for each Broken Spire ally. Uses blue and yellow, creates red and brown. So a bit like the other weapon, make sure that those Broken Spire allies, at least a couple of them, use red or brown or both. Fire God's Heart is another little weapon I like. Explode magic +1 red gems. Grant a random status effect to all Broken Spire allies, and summon a Broken Spire troop. So a nice explodey summony weapon. Nice explosion with guaranteed mana, basically. That's the good thing about these kind of weapons. I do like the ones that, you know, create a mix of this, that and the other kind of thing, but it's not always guaranteed to work. If there's red on the board, you are going to get mana from this, guaranteed, and you can get more from any future cascades. Obviously you don't know how the board's going to turn out after that, so you are losing control of the board to a certain degree, but most of the time it is worth the gamble, particularly as you get those status effects to all Broken Spire allies and you get a summon at the same time. Very, very useful, those types of weapons. One of the stars, say it every single week, but if you haven't got it and you've got the resources to craft it this week, just do it. Choose one. Create 6 elemental stars and bless all allies, or create 7 umbral stars and curse all enemies. Both of those things are amazing. Just going to go over those things ever so briefly, because some people are sleeping on how good bless and curse actually are. They're awesome on their own, let alone with that mana gen. Yeah, the mana gen on both things can mess up now and again and set up the enemy, but it doesn't happen that often, particularly if you choose the right one based on what colours are on the board. But bless all allies is like a super cleanse. Not only do you get cleansed, you effectively get the effect of being all your troops impervious, so they're immune to all status effects unless they're cursed back. It's amazing. And curse all enemies does the opposite. It makes previously what were impervious troops normal troops, so they can be affected by status effects and this, that and the other. It's amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really good weapon. Just, if you haven't got it yet, and you can, just get it. The end. The Molten Ward. Barrier myself, then give magic-based armor to all allies, boosted by burning gems. If I'm burning, gain an extra turn. I kind of like to visualize these weapon effects sometimes. This is one of the ones that cracks me up a bit. So you barrier yourself and give magic-based armor to all allies, which is fair enough, boosted by burning gems. But if I'm burning, gain an extra turn. In other words, if you're on fire, you're flapping your arms about so much trying to put yourself out, you're moving so fast, you effectively gain an extra turn. You actually sort of do double speed kind of thing. So, yeah. Anyway, that's how I roll. That's how I like to imagine these things. And this is one of those ones where I think the devs were sitting around the table thinking, we need to come out with a new weapon, and they say it in that voice. What shall we do? We're running out of ideas. Everything seems to be a bit samey. Someone puts their hands up. Convert all gems in an upwards or downwards diagonal. Oh, that's a good idea. We'll roll with that. And that's how this weapon got created. Convert all gems in an upwards or downwards diagonal into burning gems. Deal 59 scatter damage, or magic-based scatter damage. What's next? Convert all gems in a diagonal, upwards, twisted round in a V shape, boosted by entangled gems only if there's not any burning gems on the board or something. It's like, yeah. Sometimes you feel like the gems are just running out of ideas a bit, but it is what it is. It's, at least it's something different to what's there before, so I'm not sort of criticising that. I'm just having a bit of a laugh with it, that's all. I'm allowed to laugh, and I hope so. Axe of Fire. Deal damage to the first enemy, then create 7 red gems. So you bash some man with once of it and suddenly a load of red gems come out. Can recharge again because it creates those 7 red gems, but 7 red gems is in that range where it's just as likely to set up the enemy for a match as it is to give you some more red, if you know what I mean. So yeah, bit iffy like that, excuse me. Doomed Band. Give 2 magic to all allies with a +1 per temporary level boost. And then give magic +2 armor to brown allies. If the enemy has a doom, gain 10 attack. So you must have brown allies. The weapon is brown anyway, but you must have brown allies to get that armor too. But the magic boost can be good, depending upon the rest of your team. And obviously if they're brown as well, even better. But yeah, kind of pretty situational on that, depending upon your team. Now, a Lodestar, not a particularly amazing weapon. I mean, it's still decent. It converts 3 green gems to booty gems, then convert all yellow gems to doom skulls. So if you get that yellow to doom skulls and it's a 4 match, you'll get a good amount of damage, some mana gen, and an extra turn at the same time. But the reason to get this and get it today, no matter what, is because it is one of the recipe things for the Ruby Macaque, an absolutely amazing weapon, dealing true damage to all enemies. Then create 3 booty gems and explode 5 gems. So true damage to all. An explosion means it can just self-charge if you get lucky and do it again. Really, really fantastic weapon, but it does need these weapons to craft it. The Dread Arquebus, the Lodestar, which you can get today and should get today, and the Dread Cutlass. But yeah, absolutely essential to make sure you grab Lodestar today, and there it is. Because if you don't get it today, it may not be there again for absolutely ages. I mean ages. Like properly ages. Like forever and a day. If not more. Infinity unlimited. Not quite that long. But the point is, just get it today. Even if you're not going to use it, just get it today. Because it's not much. And you will want the Ruby Macaque because it is amazing. Right, and the rest of these weapons are for the dragony fellas and fellaresses. But yeah, make sure you grab that. Absolutely essential, Lodestar, if you haven't got the Ruby Macaque already. Another one that's absolutely essential is that doomed weapon, I would say. Absolutely, definitely. Do like that. There's quite a few good weapons here today. Flammifer's really good as well. But a doomed club, absolutely essential to get that. Right, let's now take a look at the troops. We'll start at the top and have a quick gander over these summoning stones ones, especially if you're a new player. Always good to have a quick look at these, see if there's anybody that you're missing. You're looking for goblins, anybody that's known to be good, anybody that starts with full mana, really handy on Guild Wars days and things like that. Start battles with full mana. This is a pretty good one, even though it's not often you fight against dwarf teams, but that may happen now on Guild Wars because of the way the restrictions work. Convert all brown gems to skulls, so you can look for that and see if that's going to be a decent match, and then just do some good damage straight away. Then curse and death mark all dwarves. A lot of dwarves are impervious, so they're immune to status effects, but with this fella, you can curse and death mark all dwarves because the curse applies first, and then if you're lucky, they can just die. So yeah, but that's a really strong second effect. Sometimes on these troops, they start with full mana. The second part of the spell is pretty weak compared to the first part, but not so much with this one. I mean, it is only viable versus dwarves, but still, when that situation occurs, very, very strong. And what else we got? Another one with something with full mana. This is what I mean about the second effect not being as strong on some of these. Transform all brown gems to red. That's okay if you're collecting red for your team and want red. And poison a random enemy. Not as strong. Obviously, the poison can still be handy on some troops, depending upon the rest of your team. But yeah, but overall, the Draxia's second part is absolutely fantastic. Ooh, we have Egg Thief here. Very cool indeed. Destroying random gems boosted by gold. Gain gold. Pushing up that boost even further. And summon Dragon Edge. So nice mana gen. It's going to increase and a summon at the same time. Valkyrie. She was such a stalwart part of people's teams in the early part of the game. We'll still find a way into some teams now and again because it does transform a selected mana color to blue. So look around in anything that makes, would convert into a 4 match regarding colors is going to be useful, and gains souls as well, particularly useful if you're still collecting souls. Yeah, some good ones here today. And nothing too fantastic there. Again, nothing too fantastic there. Oh, Leshy's good though. Really good. Do like Leshy. Only 8 mana cost. Entangle all allies and enemies. Destroy all green gems. So it does entangle all allies and enemies, so everybody gets entangled, but he's immune to entangle himself. And if you have him up top and say your top troop is immune to entangle as well, then that's a really good defense against skull-based teams. So yeah, some good stuff there. Right, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. I'm not going to go over these ones that are here all the time, or the specialist dragon ones. But Solarithus is the dragon on rotation. If on your way to collecting or crafting Stellarix, this is the only dragon of this set you're yet to craft. I do say it's worth using that extra Dragonite, because there's 6 of these things, right? And basically the odds are 5 to 1 you want to get yet another duplicate. I would rather spend the extra Dragonite knowing it's guaranteed and stop that endless frustration of getting duplicate after duplicate. But if you get lucky on the same thing, you can actually get lucky and craft it for less Dragonite. So you pay your Dragonite and you take your choice. But personally, I'd rather have the absolute definite of knowing I'm going to get it myself. But each to their own. You do what you want to do. So the Colossus, the first mythic. Not a very good one, I don't think. Destroys a 5x5 circle. Gains magic +1 armor and life, boosted by all gargoyle gems destroyed. And there is a 50% chance to create a good gargoyle gem when its turn begins. And it does reduce damage from skulls by 50%. But it's not a very good spell for a mythic. I would kind of expect more from a mythic. But hey, it is what it is. Wrath Amon. This is a bit more like it. Create a mix of 24 purple gems and skulls and gain 20 souls and cleanse all allies. So the cleanse is pretty good, but the spell is particularly good. And the reason why it's so good is because it's good for all players. You can be a level 1 player, just started the game, have somehow got enough to craft this, and you'll still make that same amount of purple gems and skulls as a level 20 billion player that's been playing the game for 20 hours a day since the day it came out. So it's really strong like that, the fact that you're going to do that same amount of purple gems and skulls. Obviously, you're not going to be doing the same amount of damage, because basically the higher your attack score, the more damage you're going to do for them skulls, but it's still really, really good. Do love Wrath Amon, and very good as well for that 50% bonus souls from a battle. Very good if you're still collecting souls, and gains 4 souls when its turn begins. So good damage dealer and very good for collecting souls at the same time. The Gemini, pretty decent. I don't think she's amazing, or they're amazing. They're a bit messy with their tomato ketchup, but apart from that, steals magic +1 life from the 2 weakest enemies, then inflicts curse and 3 stacks of bleed on them. So that's actually pretty good, because stealing life is effectively true damage. You take it away from them, you actually add it to your own, making them stronger, making them harder to kill. And in curse, and 3 stacks of bleed is true damage per turn. So yeah, really good. I think they're actually alright. I think they're kind of a little bit underrated. And that Celestial Hunger, surprisingly handy as well. Give 8 life to all purple allies when matching purple gems. I mean, have a think about that. 4 purple troops in your team, that's 32 life combined just when matching purple gems. You get like one of those loops where you get 3, 4, 5 purple matches in a row. You can get like 150 odd life to your team like really, really quickly. So yeah, she's actually pretty decent. And as kind of suggests, she actually works in pairs really well. With 2 of her in a team, you're getting 16 to all purple allies when matching purple gems. So yeah, not as bad as first looks. I think she's actually quite decent. Vash Dagon devours an ally, then summons a daemon if the ally is devoured. It says that because if you try and devour an impervious troop or something that's immune to devour, you won't actually get that devour. And then deal magic-based true scatter damage boosted by your life. So very strong if used in the right way. Do like a bit of Vash Dagon. Quite a lot of fun. Right, that's the mythics. Let's have a really quick look at the legendaries. Don't usually say to craft legendaries unless there's somebody super special like a Tesla or a Yao Guai. Let's take a look at what's here anyway. Krampus. Damage to an enemy and submerge them, or devour them, or transform them into a daemon and knock them to the back. So Yeah, not my favourite kind of troops. Don't like these or ones unless I've got some control over what it's going to be. And the fact that you could devour them, or you could transform them into a daemon and knock them to the back, which is usually a safer place to be. And it could be a really powerful daemon. And it could indeed be an unwanted gift. So yeah, bit of a, yeah, not very good that one for me. Media, really good though. Damage to all enemies, enchant all allied daemons, barrier all mystics gain 1 magic on 4 or 5 gem matches, and can summon a ancient horror on death. So yeah, she's pretty decent. Dark monolith, not much cop. Damage to the 2 weakest enemies, double damage if I am damaged, and gain 3 magic when an enemy casts a spell. Don't really want to get a bit more powerful when the enemy starts doing stuff. Web spinner, really, really awesome. Kind of really close to that essential sort of crafting thing. I said don't craft legendaries a minute ago unless there's somebody super special like a Yao Guai or Tesla, and web spinner is pretty much in that category. I think damage to all enemies and poison them, create 9 green gems. So I can do that damage to all, can actually self-charge, could have that 9 green gems, but its superpower, if you like, is the fact it's got this amazing set of traits. Inflict web when doing skull damage, and deal triple skull damage to poison and webbed enemies. The cool thing about those traits is that web and that poison thing applies immediately as soon as you match a skull. So they actually apply first to immediately start getting triple skull damage to anybody that's non-impervious. Really, really good. Absolutely fantastic troop is web spinner for absolutely lethal skull damage. But who gets my mythic of the week? Well, it ain't going to be Vash Dagon, even though it's pretty decent. The Gemini is good, but no cigar, and it absolutely isn't going to be the Colossus, so it only leaves Wrath Amon. Really, really good. Gemini and Vash are pretty decent, but Wrath Amon really, really good, because it's really good for new players as well as experienced players as well. And that mix of 24 purple gems and skulls is absolutely guaranteed to happen. In some games though, a lot of games, make sure the top troop maybe is entangled before you cast it, just in case that skull thing goes wrong and sets the enemy up. But apart from that, it's very, very solid. Right, now onto the journey team. Now this is going to be a tricky journey to get maximum miles from, because the troops we're given are absolutely dire for loop potential, but we can still make something out of it. You must use the event captain Scoria Giantborn in your team to get that ×2 magic, and to give that trait the ×2 to ×3 score. The score is effectively your miles in this, and the more miles you go, the effectively higher your score. Now the important thing to remember in journey is to get the maximum score, or the maximum miles, you must loop as much as possible. This is really key to journey, because you get the maximum miles or maximum score in journey when you complete each battle in 10 turns or less. Now obviously in the early stages of the game that's going to be really easy, so you can just pick a weapon like Ruben Macaque if you've got it, that does damage to all, and if you're wiping out the enemy in one go, you just charge that, cast and win. Very, very easy. But when the battle started to get a little bit more tricky and you have to multicast this several times, then you want a team that loops, because a loop or a turn in journey is your turn including all extra turns, the enemy's turn including all extra turns, then back to you again. That is one complete turn. So the more we can loop, the better we're going to do. So let's pop into the shop first to make sure we have the required troop. So we get tier 1 straight away, of course. You get the rather handy potion of enchantment. Now with this team, the potion of enchantment, the potion of explosion, and the mana start we're going to get in this is going to be super, super useful. So a tier 1, which you have to buy anyway, because you have to buy the tiers in order. But tier 2 is where you get the Scoria Giantborn Pathfinder troop, absolutely guaranteed. You're going to get that tier 3. That's where you get that gain 2 to 3 times miles in my journey event based on my ascensions. But you don't really need to have it on that ×3. So if you can't afford to get it to mythic level, because there's 2 ways of doing that. You can either buy enough tiers in the shop to get enough copies of it to get it to mythic level that way, or you can just buy a tier 2, back out, use 2 orbs of ascension to get it to mythic level that way, and then you got one a mythic level. But if you're still chasing Zorgoth in the game, for example, those orbs of ascension are really valuable, so I'd probably keep hold of those orbs, because you're still going to do plenty of damage with this anyway. But another reason why it's good to get it to mythic level if you can is because it enables you to use a little trick to get 2 of these in a team. And in a team where the restrictions of troops we got available to us are really, really poor, it's really good to have 2 of these in a team if you can. I'll show an option where you can still use 1 of these in a team and another troop in case you can't get 2 of these. But if you can, ascend that first using 2 orbs of ascension. Then you buy tier 3 because you pick up another weapon at the same time, which is okay. But tier 4 is where you pick up some more Scoria Giantborns. So because it's all mythic and finished kind of thing, you already would have extras of these by buying tier 4. So that's what I'm going to look at straight away. But like I will say, I will show an option where if you don't have 2 of these, you can still make it work. So there's our 2 Scoria Giantborns. Damage to an enemy. Remember, that's going to be extra because of the magic boost in this event, because he's the event captain. Then create brown gems boosted by giant allies. We will be all giant allies because it is a restriction. And we can have the Doomed Spade. Damage to the first 2 enemies with a +2 per tempering level boost. So the higher you got this temper, the more damage it's going to do. Then create 2 brown gems for each brown ally and enemy. If the enemy has a doom, gain a random status effect. So don't care about the last bit, about the doom bit. But the create 2 brown gems is really, really good for this because it's for each brown ally and enemy. So basically, if on those by pure chance battles we have the enemy with 2 or more, brown enemies, we're going to be creating more brown gems than this fella here. And when you combine those things together, and considering we're going to start with a potion of enchantment, explosion, we're going to get going really quick, and this is going to get going really nice and fast. And in Titan class, not only can we have a nice 50% start on everybody, but we'll have things like counterattack, stone circle, storm aura, really important, create a dust storm at the start of battle, rock solid, gain a barrier of matching brown gems, which we're doing all the time, stone mastery, more brown, the more things are going to happen quicker, and that's important in journey. We can have fortitude at the same time. But if you don't have 2 of these, or you can't get 2 of these, then there's a really, really bad set of troops to pick from. There really is. Absolutely shocking. It's like hardly anybody's got like any sort of real potential for looping. It's really bad. But I would pop in Igneous. If you've only got 1 Scoria Giantborn, then swap out that second to last one and pop in something like Igneous instead. Damage to an enemy, which is okay, but yeah, the thing that's handy about this is transform all red to brown. That could be really, really good. So basically it gives us an option to change red to a colour which our whole team needs. But that's what I would roll with if you only have 1 Scoria, but this is what I'm going to try as it is now. I haven't actually done this yet, so we're going to have a brown where we don't care about red. Green is important. I want to get Ogress up as quickly as possible. As soon as we cast her, she's going to charge a team up. And then the brown, hopefully, should follow. And we've shown those things already. So let's jump into a battle. Let's see what happens. As ever, change to Elementalist class when things get tricky for you. That's going to vary upon player to player. When it gets tricky, depending upon your level and stats and things like that. But we can cast this right off the bat. We got that storm going already. Brown gems fall more than the other colours. We can do that. It's going to kill the 2 of them. There we go. We got the loop. Ogress will take out all those other colours. And we got it charged up again. Another 2. Bang, bang, banging. You are dead. Everybody's dead. And that was a very easy under the 10 turn rule. So again, first portal call is to get Ogress charged up. Again, it will happen really quickly. We've got 3 things seriously in our favour straight away at the start of this battle. We've got that 50% mana start on everybody. We've got a potion of enchantment, which means each turn everybody gets 2 mana. And we've got the potion of explosion at the beginning of the game. That's why everyone's getting charged up so quick. We've got the dust storm in our favour as well. You can do this first. No, we can't do this first, sorry. Because it wasn't charged up yet. Let's take out the Valraven. Make sure we get those sigils in the bag. That's charged up. The weapon at the same time. Now, when you get in a situation where you got more than 1 brown enemy, if you can target someone, you're actually better off killing them with this, who's not brown, if you know what I mean. Because when we cast this, you get more brown gems for each brown ally and enemy. So ordinarily I would cast this, but just to show what I mean, we've got a brown enemy at the bottom, a brown enemy at the top. This is the only option to cast. You take out Azure there, whatever her name is, because she's not brown. So when we cast this, we get more gems creation when we cast the weapon. If you haven't got that weapon, chuck in Ruby McArk, something like that if you've got that as well, or instead. Really, really good, but always go for the most miles that you can. Well, I've moved on a little bit further when things are starting to get a little bit tougher, but it's still really easy with this team. Remember, the more brown enemies you got, actually the better it gets. When there's a brown enemy, there's no major advantage to casting the Doom Spade over our Scoria fella. But yeah, our Ogress is going to be up next turn anyway, so let's give ourselves the barrier at the same time. Let's explode stuff on the board. Let's got our weapon up. Let's cast this. Lots of brown there because of the brown storm already. Going to leave that there. It's actually in our favour to leave that there. No need to take it. Got more brown on the board, more chance we've got a loop in. See, the weapon didn't get fully charged. This is when you got two choices. You can either, well, three choices. You can either take some brown to fill it up, take a skull hit, get rid of the top enemy. Or, yeah, I think I'll do that. Get rid of them because it's the Valraven. We want to keep that there. And we may have got a cascade of brown after that. You can take this if you want to fill up the weapon, but this many brown on the board, you're better off just casting this because we get double damage. And it's got a magic boost, but don't cast it on the troop that's brown. Cast on somebody that's not using brown. Therefore, we get the higher amount of brown creation when we cast the Spade. And we can then finish off. So a challenging journey on this to keep the loop going, but it is possible with this team. Definitely, absolutely 100%. Terrible amount of choice of troops to pick from. But we still made something decent of it. Again, when we're casting this, make sure you don't target the brown using enemies. Because we've got a few here, look. I mean, look at this. Got a brown one there, a brown one there, and one of him. So we're creating like 14. The boost is 14. That's nuts. This should just loop endlessly. Don't have to look. This is going to keep on going. This is like the old days of Chalcedon and stuff like that. When you get this amount going. Yeah, crazy. Really cool. Now onto the Underspire team. Now quite a few different ways you can go about this, but I'm going to go with a quick Magma Dragon team. The cool thing about Magma Dragon is, or one of the cool things, because there's several, is it conjures a lava storm when its turn begins, which is red and brown combined. And it uses red and brown, so that is super, super useful. So a constant slew of red and brown every single turn. Really, really cool. Absolutely love Magma Dragon. And damage to all at the same time, boosted by red and brown. So the more red and brown on the board, the more damage it's going to do. If we can get it charged up really quickly with Ogress in a Titan class, going to have a 50% mana start on her. Just get some brown, get some green, get her charged up, cast her. She's going to create mana for fun. And cast Magma Dragon to get the job done. Fire's God Heart can be here as a backup, exploding red gems. Remember, there's going to be more of them on the board because of Magma Dragon's Lava Storm. And yeah, get a status effect as well. And a summon if you need it. So if we accidentally lose our Ogress, then we can get a backup in there really, absolutely quickly. So really cool. Plenty of other ways to go about this though. If you've got the troops, Amarok is going to be absolutely fun in this at the latest stages. Put him in place of the second Magma Dragon. Chance to devour boosted by red gems. With that storm from Magma Dragon, that chance to be high, and it can just devour the enemy, and they will die because they're dead if they've been eaten. It creates more red gems and can self-charge and do it again. Really, really fun with Amarok. You can chuck in other things. Who we got? Infernus, be good for this. Splash damage, explosion, really good. Meteordin, damage to all. Chuck that in place of Magma Dragon, the first one. That's going to get charged up so quickly with Ogress. And the weapon is going to be nuts. Use a second Magma Dragon still there though to create all that red and brown, which Meteordin uses. Really, really cool. So yeah, various ways to go about this, but I'm going to go with this just because of the Lack of Mythic, which helps newer players. You can even chuck in Shegra. Shegra be a riot in this. 8 gems, then convert all. Actually, that's different because mine's shiny level 3. So forget that was what that was before. Maybe 7 red gems on non-shiny level 3. Then convert all red gems to skulls. But the point is, with all the red there and whatever skulls are there, if you got red and skulls in a line of 4, then when you cast Shegra, you are guaranteed to get skull hits and an extra turn. So let's just dive into it with this. Still going to use Titan class for this. Really good. All giants start with 50% mana. We can have impact. We can have counter attack. We can have stone circle. Storm aura. Good to have that brown storm at the start. Rock solid. Stone mastery or fortitude. And for the banner, we will have a cheeky petrified banner, giving us +2 brown, +1 red, -1 blue. It's a jump in there. This shouldn't take long at all, even though we don't get a 50% mana start on this or anything like this, like the or the potion of enchantment rather, like the event. Ogress is charged up really quickly. That's not too much red and brown on the board, considering we've got a red storm going on, but we can get our red there and do the damage to all. And kaboosh, I'm all out of there. And move on to the next one. Let's pop in and see what Matey Boy Hat Jewelry Face has got for us today. Apart from the free lantern, we know he's got that. But apart from that, no, I don't want to purchase anything. I want you to give me stuff for free, like I've just done, and run off with it and say, on your way, Chin Boy. Alright. Chinza Boy. He has many chins. Chin Boy was doing him a disservice. It took him ages to eat all them pies and get all them chins. Credit where credit's due. Oh, so yeah. So obviously it's going to get to a point, how far, depending upon how far you go in the Underspire, whether you have to start multicasting these back to back. Because it will still happen pretty quickly though, because if we just get Ogress up, look at all this green, it's rather nutty. So both of them should get charged up pretty quickly with all this red and brown on the board constantly. You can just cast Ogress repeatedly if you want to get them both up like that. So if you need to cast twice, you can then just cast Magma Dragons back to back. Get the job done that way. If Ogress wasn't charged, you've got Fire's God Heart there waiting to be cast instead. If you've cast both Magma Dragons and you still need to do extra damage on the later levels, you just combine Ogress and Fire God's Heart to charge up again. See, this time Fire God's Heart got that yellow, so that got charged up straight away, which just charged up our Magma Dragon, who does the job. And like I say, if there's the option for Meteorodon, that'd be really good for this. Stick it in place of the first Magma Dragon. Salamandra should also be good. I'll get that because it's there. Oops, that actually got the weapon up instead. Ogress got beaten to the punch. Again. What I do for that is pretty straightforward team to use there, but there it is. There's the video. If you enjoyed it, found it useful and helpful, it'd be really cool if you bash that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next one. I've just inadvertently started another battle, so I've got to finish it now, haven't I? Might as well get a bonus skull hit at the same time. Let Ogress do her thing. Let her get charged up again, because she was a bit lazy and didn't provide the mana provided, but Magma Dragon says, it's okay, Ogress, I got this.